Hello everyone, welcome back to the Project Corner. Today is my first video of 2019, so if we haven't spoken in person, Happy New Year! And for me, this is a very happy new year because we have a new feature. The new feature is called Roadmap, and Microsoft has been distributing a lot of marketing on this. During Ignite, it was presented, and after that, a couple of guys were heavy on blogging about this new feature that recently was introduced to the new environment. So what I'm looking at today is I'm going to create a new roadmap from scratch. This is the first time I've used it, so it's going to be very interesting. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at Microsoft Project Online as well as the Azure DevOps environment. Now, in my opinion, roadmaps is needed for program scheduling. And the good thing about roadmaps is that you can use either Project Online projects, but also the Azure and Agile way of working, and combine those together into a roadmap. So without further ado, let's just start clicking on Create. Now, well, without further ado, I just want to mention this. This is not going to be a technical video. So I'm not going to discuss on how to get this roadmaps on your tenant. You need to have CDS for Apps 2.0, and there needs to be a couple of check marks activated on your tenant level. So if you're looking for technical, please head over to Brian's excellent posts, or there will be other guys that do posts on that, and I'll put a link in the show notes. So without further ado, and now for real, let's create our first roadmap. Alright, it's almost ready. That's good. So here we go. It's an untitled roadmap, and this is the first time I've used it. So here there is a nice introduction. Let's read what it says here. Welcome to Roadmap. We'll help you track the most important tasks to matter, no matter where they live. Well, that's a good promise. See the big picture and stay on schedule. Just add a row to get started. Well, I'm going to be bold and I'm going to give it a name first. And this is going to be a roadmap for the program that's called Rugby. I used to be a rugby player in my youth, so this is going to be very exciting. Rugby program, and I am the owner, and this is a demo environment, so I'm MOD administrator, and I'm just going to click this away, see if that happens. Yep, so now it's called Rugby program, and let's add a first row. All right, this is an untitled row and it's unassigned, which is basically good. And then untitled row, and what we're going to do, connect it to project or connect it to Azure boards. Well, seeing as I can relate more to Project Online, let me just give you a brief introduction to the Project Online environment that we have here. So this is Project Online. Most of you might be familiar with this. And I have a project center as well. And this project center is sorted on the program level. So I have a custom field that's called program, and I have one of the programs being Rugby. And in that, I have a couple of projects, roughly 9, 10, maybe 3, 6, 9. Yep, so 9 projects. But there is also a Azure environment. So in the Azure boards environment, in the Azure DevOps environment, we also have the board of that's called Rugby. So there's a Agile element and there is a project scheduling element within the environment, within the program. So let's get back to Project Center and let's have the Bay Plaza as the first project that we're going to introduce into our roadmap. So this is an untitled row. Let's give it a title. Let's stick with the title that we have in Project Online, Bay Plaza. So it's Bay Plaza, and I'm not going to pick the actual owner of that project. No, I'm going to pick the sponsor, because as a program manager, I think it would be nice to talk to the sponsors. Grady Archie, he's a designer. I clicked on him, and there is a nice picture in here. And keep in mind, this is linked to the Active Directory, or because we're online, it's the Azure Active Directory. And I'm going to connect it to a project. Yep. Just need to have the correct name here. Well, I don't need to have the correct name because it just basically says any name which I want. So, looks good. It immediately found the correct PWA. There might be more. Nope, there are not more. So I'm going to look for Bay Plaza. And here it is. And what happens now? Connect to project. What does it do? Members of the roadmap will have full access to connections in the created flow and the content within the connected account. So let's have a look, because what Microsoft actually does for each roadmap, there will be a flow connected. So get updates to roadmap from Project Online, and I'm going to just click on see the details. So here is my admin account, which I'm using for this environment, and it's connected to roadmap and it's connected to Project Online. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to connect it. And just like that, it is connected to the Bay Plaza. Now I can add items. So let's have a brief, short look at what kind of items we have in here. Now, as a program manager, well, this is a big project, right? So as a program manager, I don't want to have the full nitty-gritty. That is the project manager side of life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to Outline Level 1. And I'm just going to find some of the phases that I want to have included into the roadmaps. So I might be interested in this big one, site grading and utilities. So let's find that one. Site grading and utilities. Here we found it, and it is a phase that is correct. So let's head over to one of the other ones. This is a big one. So this is form and pour concrete. Sure. Form and pour concrete. So this is very fast, guys, because I have a Project Online environment, which is a tenant PWA. And I have my roadmaps, and the flow immediately knows, all right, this is something that we need to have. So there might be some preloaded things in here. I am not very sure about that. But other than that, this is fast, guys. This is very nice. So let's have another look. Let's pour this one in here. Heating and ventilating, sure, heating. We need to have heating. So let's have this one. And these are all phases. Let's see what happens if we add a milestone in there. Are there even milestones in this project? Let's see if there are milestones. found a couple of milestones here. And let's have, well, iron embracing. Let's have that one in here as well. Iron and bracing. It changed. It's now a key date. Well, a key date, it is a milestone in Project Online, but in Roadmap you have something that's called a key date. Keep that in mind. So we have phases and we have key dates. So let's add this and see what happens with our roadmap. All right. So this is the Bay Plaza. Grady is the owner of that program schedule. I can add new items. There are 4 connected row items. And let's zoom out a bit because I want to have the ability to look at it in the big picture. So these are phases, right? These are big. And what Roadmap does, it keeps everything in that little row that we created here. So this one, it's blue. And if you've seen my blog post about roadmaps connecting the islands, you would know that there is something called the status, and it's not set. So it was on track, it was at risk or high risk, or it's done. Well, seeing as this is in the past, I'm just going to click on it is done. What happens if we click on open details? What happens? Well, not much. So let's keep this closed. So we have that as being done. And here we have our key date, and that is blue as well. And seeing as this is on track, and this one is on track as well, and we'll just put this one at a risk. So as a program manager, right from the start, I can see, okay, well, we're in January 2019. Once again, Happy New Year, guys. And we have a couple of key performance indicators here. We see things that are green, which don't need to have a focus for me at the moment, and we have some things that are orange, or we might even say, okay, it's at risk, high risk. So what happened? I clicked on it. All right, so this is the first project that I'm going to add, but I'm going to add a couple of more. I'm going to add all the Project Online projects in here that are related to the rugby program, and I'm going to add a couple of items in the current phases in here as well, and we'll see what that looks like. So I'm going to speed this up a bit, where I'm going to add all the projects. I'm going to add a couple of sponsors as well, and I'm going to add a couple of items. And this is probably going to be very fast, and basically we've all been through this before. So sit back, relax, and let me do the work. So that was very fast, guys. I created a couple of projects, and these projects just fill up very nicely. So let's also include a couple of items here. I can left mouse click on an item and have a quick overview of the information, or I can open details. Opening up details doesn't do much now, but I can imagine that Microsoft will include more information here. So let's keep an open mind for that. I also have these little key dates in here as well, and we're going to do a couple of interesting things with the key dates in a moment. I can change all these colors in here and do a couple of nice things. I'm very curious to see what happens if I create a new row, and when I create a new row, I will just keep it as an untitled row, and I'll have Lynn being the owner. and I'll connect it to a project. And what happens if I leave it blank for the rest? So let's have a project by Lynn. Lucarna, she already has. So let's just have Gladstone. Well, no. Let's have Bountiful. And it's very nice choosing a choosing choosing a project is done on a wildcard situation. So I included FUL because I don't know how to spell bountiful, obviously. And it finds it immediately. It's very, very, very fast, and that's very nice to see for a change because we know how Project Online performs, right? So get updates to roadmap from Project Online. Let's do a connect, and let's see what happens if I don't add any other projects, because what I've seen is that there's only a cancel button here. So does that mean that the whole row is deleted or just no items added? That's good, guys, because there still is the bountiful information. And have a look. If I didn't enter any name for that project, it picks up the already created project name from Project Online, which is way too long for me. So I'll just remove a couple of words there, and I'll click on close. So that's another thing that I like about the roadmap. It gives you the option to create short names for otherwise very long project names. So the Bountiful project doesn't have any rows in there, but it is included in the Rugby program, and the project manager, or for me, the sponsor, might be able to add that information later. So I am expecting the planner and director and marketing manager being information that is coming from the Active Azure directory, the Azure Active Directory, because I didn't enter any of that data myself. So one other thing that I like about this is that I can add row items, I can move items down and up, and I can remove an item of obviously, but I can also I don't know how to remove an item. Hold on. Remove a phase. So on a roadmap you have phases and you have key dates. Keep that in mind. This is not a tool for the general project manager, but this is something for the program manager, a higher level on the project and portfolio management ladder, I would say. So what I like to say, hey, my left mouse button click changed. It doesn't, why? Now it's back. So that it probably is a bug. I clicked with the left mouse button and it opened up the details directly without having this nice little call out. So what I do like and what I wanted to show you guys is that there is a general key date that you can add for the whole program. So seeing as this is Happy New Year's, Happy New Year's. So I don't know how to write festivities. So Happy New Year party, and we're going to have that on the first Monday that we're going to go to work, and all looks on track. So adding that will add it to the whole program. This is not linked to one single project or agile thing. No, this is a key date that I want to have an overview of as a program manager. talking about Agile, let's have a look at connecting the roadmap to the work items on the board level. So we had Project Online, we had Azure DevOps with boards, with Agile functionality, and we need to keep the people in their respective applications. So people that want to work with Project Online, let's keep them there. People that want to work with sprints and boards, let's keep them in the Azure DevOps boards. So here I created a very simple, very basic Azure board, Azure project called Rugby, and I have a dashboard in here, and I have some more information. And one of the things that I also have is a board, and in that board I can have a look at the board itself, which has new items, active items, resolved items, and closed items. We have nice storyboards. We have a velocity graph here, as well as a cumulative flow. And what I can do is I can add items that I have here into my roadmaps. So let's try that. Let's add another row, and let's have this Agile initiatives, and let's have the MOD administrator as the owner, which currently is me. So let's see what happens when I click on the Azure. Well, it immediately finds the corresponding DevOps environment within this tenant, which looks good, and I must agree. So let's choose a project, and one of the projects is Rugby. So let's see what happens. Now I am imagining that there is another flow being created, and yes, there is. And this time it gets updates to roadmap from Azure boards. Let's connect. And just like that, let's look for the first item. Yep. And let's look at the completed item as well. How did I spell that? Closed. Sure. Closed board item. And it has a start date and it has a due date. I don't know how that was found, but then again, I'm not an Azure or Agile consultant yet. So, and here we go. This is very nice. It has the closed item. It has the first board item. And I just love clicking on these and getting those nice colors in there as well. What can I do? I can add these people, my sponsors, to this roadmap by clicking on members. And if I click on the members page, I have group settings here. And this group name is Rugby Program. This means that at the moment that I create a new roadmap, I immediately create a new Microsoft group, which is nice because that I can link with Teams, I can link that with Flow, I can link that with Project Power Apps, I can link that with Project Power BI. There is a lot of power in here. So let's add Lynn to the mix. Let's add Nestor. Let's add Grady. And I am the owner myself, so these guys, what will they be? I have no clue at the moment. I'll get back to that when I get more hands-on feeling with roadmaps. That will happen in the future. I can click on go to date. So let's go to December. Well, yeah, okay, this is a month by month, so it immediately sets that to the first cell being December. It's too bad that I don't see it as December here, but oh well, I'll get over it. So this is my first roadmap. Now this information is all stored in the Common Data Service, the CDS for apps. And one of the things that you might run into as in your organization is that you have CDS for apps that is not on the 2.0 level. So if you do have that, you will have the option to locate items in Power BI. And I had this prepared already. But what you do is you get data, and I'm in Power BI desktop at the moment. And what you do is you click on more, where you said get items or get data. And here there is something called the Common Data Service for Apps. Now this is a beta, all right? So there will be a warning when we connect to it. Well, at least the first time. And when I'm going to connect to this, I want to have the server URL that is connected to this one. And seeing as I don't have that here at the moment, I'm just going to walk you through it with the recent sources where I already had it prepared. When I'm connecting to the Common Data Service for apps, there's entities and there's system. Now for the roadmaps, you want to find it in entities. Once I open this up, there will be a couple of tables here called MSDYN. I don't know what that particularly means, but there's roadmap, there's roadmap item, there's link, and there's a row link and an item link, and there's user settings. Now, for now, let's just focus on the roadmap and the roadmap item and the linking tables. I already have them open here, so let's see where the connection is. So currently you have the roadmap, you have the roadmap row link, and what I created myself was I created a connection with the project online environment, and I connected them on the project ID and the external project ID. Now currently I couldn't get it to work fast enough for this video to be aired, but I'll get back to this, where I will create my first report using the roadmap functionality. A couple of things that I want to tackle here is what the data looks like. So let's edit the queries. Let's go a bit technical, where the roadmap table has all these dates and all these boring UID fields, but it also has something very interesting where it has a name of the items that we have in here, more IDs, and here it has a MSDYN type, and there's either a 0 or there is a 1, saying that it is either a roadmap or it is a roadmap row. So for this level, this table talks about this item or these items. And for the row, for more detail, you need to go into the roadmap items level. And on the item level, there's a lot of UIDs again, a lot of dates, a lot of zeros or nulls. But there is also something about a status. And there's a not set status, which typically is a 100 for some reason. On track is 0, complete is 10, and at risk is 2. Do we have other values? No, we don't have other values, I think. Potential problem. Yep. So 0 is on track, 1 is potential problem, 2 is at risk, and 100 is not set. Well, that gives you a couple of values to work on. That gives you a couple of values that you can use in reports in the future. There's also a type display, It's either a key date or it is a phase. It's either a 0 or it is a 1. And then there's a whole lot of information that I haven't wrapped my head around yet. So with that, I would like to close this one off telling you that this is very, 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 very new. So Project Roadmap just came out in December 2018. And if you're viewing this in 2022, thanks for still looking into these videos. But Microsoft has the user voice environment. And this is the environment where you can add new requests on what you would like to see within this environment. I would like to do a deep dive later on to see how these projects update. Let's get back to roadmaps in a later stage where we know new information about this very exciting tool. Let's have a look at the filter. Filter by name. Well, I'm not interested by name. I can't filter on the KPI status. That is something that I would like to see in a user voice. Yeah, no, there's no option to filter on. I can filter on Grady, but yeah, I'm not very interested in that. So let's head back to Project Home, which you can access with project.microsoft.com. And now I will have the option to have the rugby program in here and add that as a favorite. Now it will always be on top and I will have a quick access to my program. And because I linked that to the other people that were in the sponsor list, these people have this access as well. So it's populating the data now, which takes a little time. But there it is. There we have all the information. And I can add more members to the group, people that need to have a look at this view. And there's going to be a lot more to talk about in regards to project roadmaps, or a lot to talk about in roadmaps. And I will for sure come back to this at a later stage. So with that, this is another feature release video, and I hope you liked it. I for sure did. Having a first look and feel on project roadmaps. I just love clicking around. Sorry about that. So with that, this is Project Roadmaps, or Roadmaps for short. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, click that thumbs up, and I hope to see you soon on another video on the Project Corner.